Hey y'all, welcome back to Poplar Creek Farm. I know it's been a bit since I've done a video. We have been busy and also just making lots of plans. So I haven't been shooting videos recently. So I've got lots to update on, lots of things that are going on. So after 2 years of spending time really working on our soil here, adding in a good amount of compost, utilizing cover crops, really good, being good about rotating crops and things. We're totally moving the garden. This isn't going to be our garden space at all anymore. Why? You might ask. It's because we are kind of doing a do-over. We're not moving. We're not going anywhere. But we realized that this space would be better utilized for our children to play. They have kind of broken areas to play. They've got their playground, and then they've got a small area, and then they've got this, and they are going to be losing some space because of our pigs that we're getting next year, so we don't want to take away all their space. And this is a nice big flat area that they can play on, that they can have, sport nets and things. So what we're gonna do is, where I had planned on expanding my garden, this whole space is gonna be my garden, and also this whole space. It's going to be more than double what my garden is, probably triple what my garden is right now, the space I can utilize. Obviously this is our orchard, so what does that mean for our orchard? Well, we're gonna move it. It's not it's not what we wanted to do. We wanted our orchard here initially, but this would be a much better space utilized as a garden. And we have a large front yard as well as a large front hill that we don't use. Part of it's because of a septic tank and you can't use it, but the parts that we can use are pretty big, and so we may as well use them. I can't put a garden up here, so why not put the orchard? So our front yard is pretty good size. It's really, this camera does not show, the phone does not show the size of it very well, but pretty much right here is our septic, and then all over there we can use, and that's a big hill. And so we're gonna put our orchard over there. So come the next few, probably honestly middle of September, we'll move all these trees, because it's best to move them either, so obviously most ideal to move them in spring before they start to bud, but the other time that is okay to move them is fall, once they their leaves start to change, which is pretty early here. We moved our meat chickies outside, so all of them are in here right now. We will have them in 2 chicken tractors at some point, but right now they're still so small, so it's kind of silly to have them in 2 chicken tractors, especially because the overnights are still kind of cool. This week we had some cool overnights. We were having really warm temperatures, and then all of a sudden now we have cool temps. So we'll move them in 2 chicken tractors once they're a little bit bigger. They have plenty of space though right now. That's about 68 birds total between Cornish Cross and Red Rangers. So basically starting where the orchard is now, where the orchard starts, is where my gardens will start. And they will go until, it's hard to tell here, but there's some rows of Sharon bushes down there by the bees, and that's where they will go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this chicken tractor over here. We're gonna start turning it and moving it over here. And the other chicken tractor as well. And then we're gonna continue to move the bunnies through this space to help really prep the soil. And then we will till this whole area up, plant a cover crop of winter rye, and then leave it until spring, and that's when we will fence it in and everything. So obviously that means we're gonna need huge amounts of compost, all that good organic matter getting in there. We have a good amount of compost started from our farm, but it's not enough for all that space. So what we'll do is we will get loads of compost. I'm going to start with getting loads of compost from our waste authority, the Oneida Herkimer Waste Authority. They have compost that they sell by the bulk, and it's a really affordable price. So we'll get loads from them and put that in, and then we will hopefully get some cow manure as well. So let's walk through the mess of a garden. Obviously my tomato plants look awful. But they still have lots of fruit on them that are ripening, so I am obviously not pulling them out at this point. We've had lots of wind that has knocked them over, and then so much rain this year that it's just, they're full of blight. I mean, they look terrible. It's gotten through all of them now. My cucamelon trellis. I planted too many cucamelons here, so I don't think they're going to make it up and over because I think they're just kind of wrapping themselves in here. This is a tomato plant somewhere in this jungle that I did not trellis up at all. Over here, we got to pull out the Swiss chard. We've got tomato plants along the edge. Those ones are looking better, but they aren't ripening yet as much. There's a few here and there. This is the third row, the third sowing of beans. This was radishes and beets, but only the radishes have come up. Kale's got to come out, lots of weeds. But at this point, I'm not really doing a whole lot with it. Oh, we do have some carrots that germinated. Not many, but a few carrots have germinated. So I will leave them and see what comes up. My basil that I sowed really late, it's doing good. My second sowing of peas is coming up pretty well. Cucumber trellis. That side is looking terrible. Those cucumbers look awful. The plants look awful. But this side's still going strong. Peppers. We're finally getting some sweet peppers that are doing okay. We've got some of our mini bell mix. They're just mixed multicolored peppers, and they are super, super good. They're kind of a firm pepper, but they're very, very tasty. Sweet little peppers for snacking. Peppers are doing pretty good. They don't look, I mean, they're full of weeds here, but they are doing well. What are you eating? Cucamelons. You want a pepper? Mm-hmm. It's a little sweet pepper.
Is it hot pepper?
No, it's a sweet pepper.
Try it. You for school?
Try it right now. Yeah, like the ones we eat for school. Is it good? So we pulled out all the potatoes and we just kind of left them here because we will still till this up one more, before we're done. I tried some of our corn the other day and it is absolutely terrible. It's very gritty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those out and give them to my neighbor for his pigs. If we had pigs, we would do that, give them to them. These are squashes that are planted way too close together, but we're getting some. These are spaghetti squash. We've got a pumpkin over here somewhere. Right here. Got a pumpkin star. Yeah.
It's like for Halloween.
Some more squash. These are all winter squash.
Mommy?
Yep. Big one there. I'm not even sure what variety it is. Oh, and I see squash bugs.
There's one down there.
Yeah, they almost look like my zucchini, but they're not. But there's definitely squash bugs. And we're just going to let this go and do what it wants to do. Weeds are crazy again everywhere.
I should not wish you here.
These are beans over here that are starting to produce. More beans. Some of them are drying beans. These are some dragon tongue bush beans, which I have really learned to absolutely love this year. I'd never tried them before and I just love them. Got a few watermelon. No, those are cucumbers.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
That one's ready.
And that one.
A couple cucumbers on there. This is where the garlic was. And
ready though.
yep, and right there too.
Oh, and then you two, and then one down there.
Yep. I'm just kind of letting this go at this point, knowing especially that we're not doing anything with this next year. Knowing that this is all going to become grass. I'm not super worried about the weeds.
Oh, Mom, look at that one.
So obviously I've got lots of tomatoes to pick through here. And I'll pick them tomorrow for the market. And then whatever doesn't sell, we will work up.
Yeah. And cut them up.
Yeah. Look at this beautiful monarch I just found. We try to let the milkweed go as much as we can. We have lots of milkweed in the back of our property. So we try to let as many of the weeds go in the back of our property as we can. We don't really do anything back there. My husband cuts trails for hunting, but that's it. We don't touch it otherwise, which is really good for the bees and for the monarch butterflies, because we do have a lot of milkweed, which again is just super beneficial. So we are starting to work on this area, which is where our pigs are going to go. The grass was super overgrown because it does get kind of wet down here. And so we weren't able to mow it when it was raining constantly. And then this hill was just, it's pretty steep and it's got some big rocks, so we haven't been able to mow it down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through here and take up as many of these rocks, and then we might actually till this whole area. Not down here, because that's actually really nice grass, but till this area and plant some pasture mix so that the pigs can have really good pasture. And again, this is super nice grass down here that they'll have access to. And over here, we're gonna cut some of this down. Not a ton, but we're gonna cut some of this because back here gets really wet and it'll be perfect spot for them to wallow. Pigs need a wallow, and if we don't make them one, they will make one on their own. Yeah. Yeah, cash. And this is the sign of my favorite time of year. Goldenrod flow, all that right there is goldenrod, and that the bees absolutely love, and they make the sweetest, tastiest honey ever from it. As I had posted, I don't know if it was my last video or the 2 videos ago, I had applied mite treatments, Formic Pro, for my bees because I had seen varroa mite, and unfortunately seeing it means it's late. But also, unfortunately, it got really hot. It got really hot this last week, and I could not leave the Formic Pro on the hives without risking serious damage to my hives. Significant hive death, lots of bees getting killed, including potentially my queen, because it did get above, although the actual temperature was only 90 or right about 90 is the hottest it got, but the real feel was over 100 some days, so because of the humidity, and I was not risking it. So I took my Formic Pro off at 1 week, so they were only on there for 1 week instead of 2 weeks. So it probably did not do a whole lot. Unfortunately, I can't really apply another mite treatment right away. I can't apply another round of Formic Pro for a month. So as soon as that month point is up, I will apply another one and leave it on for the full 2 weeks. And then I will, 1 month from that, which will be middle of October, I will do an alcohol wash and kind of see where it's at. If I'm really worried about mites, I'd rather treat and risk losing a little bit more of my hive body, the amount of my hive, than not treating and them not making it over winter either way. Because I know if they have a high mite load, I'm screwed for winter. If I have, bless you, if I have few bees, I could be screwed for winter, but again, if I know I have mites, I'm 100% screwed for winter. This is that gorgeous backfield we have, and if you can, it's hard to see from here, but I can see milkweed and goldenrod galore. There's milkweed all here in front, and then this is pretty much all goldenrod. Those weeds, it doesn't look like it from here necessarily, but they are all shoulder high or higher. It pretty much is all this back there, which is just great for the bees. It's our gorgeous compost pile. It doesn't even look like compost anymore. It looks like dirt.
Daddy did it.
Yeah, he turned it over. My husband turns it over every so often with the tractor. We just tip it over or flip it over, kind of stir it up, and which just allows aeration. And because he's been doing that so frequently, it looks beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. It's gonna be great compost. But again, we're gonna need a lot more of that than what we've got so far. I don't know what this flower is here. I thought for a second it was milkweed, but it's a little bit different. It's very pretty though. This is our trail to the backfield, and I'm gonna flip the camera in a second, but you can see right now all the goldenrod that is starting to bloom, and there's still tons more to bloom. I mean, this is just about to bloom. It's so close, and once it does, my beehives are gonna stink. They'll smell like dirty socks, and they will make the tastiest honey, because goldenrod honey is super stinky when they're bringing it in.
It's so good.
Little one decided to pull open the tailgate to Daddy's truck and while she was standing on it and fell and hit her face. Huh. But now you can kind of get an idea of the height of this. Yeah. Even the bumblebees love it.
Yeah, bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
So the bumblebee.
In a little bit, once this fully opens up, which will probably be this week, the bees will be back here constantly. It'll just be amazing. Here's some that's actually open, and I can hear buzzing. I just heard a bee buzzing by me. I'm sure the bees have been all over this. That goldenrod, they love it. And this area is just loaded with it.
We can't go that way.
So obviously, guys, as we change the garden, as we prep new garden spaces, I will keep you guys updated. I do plan on trying to do update videos as we add things to the soil and kind of see how things work. We've already amended the soil in some ways, at least half of it. We planted clover all throughout our orchard as a cover crop to help with the apple trees and to help break up that clay soil, add nitrogen, all those things. So that whole space should be really good. Plus the bunnies have been going through it for the last few months. And so it should be really, really nourished. And then having the chickens go through this area should really help. So hopefully all those things will have already added to the soil more than we added to the soil before. So it should be a better starting point than where we started with our other garden. We'll see though. And you know, hopefully it makes a difference. If it doesn't, well, we'll add lots of compost. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Remember, we're growing today for a better tomorrow. Please like and subscribe and join me on the next one.